Hi, it's me again. Just thought I'd bring you a new video. I was gonna give you my predictions for the Survivor Series, and I was gonna come out with a video about talking about my thoughts about Bobby Lashley possibly going back to the WWE, but I wanted to do something different. Since Survivor Series is coming up, I thought I'd give you my top 10 my top 10 Survivor Series teams of all time in the WWF, and just give you my thoughts on why they're my top 10, my quick thoughts. So let's get this video started. At number 10, we got a tie with the Ultimate Team, the Ultimate Warrior, Kerry Von Erich, and the Legion of Doom, and the Perfect Team, Mr. Perfect, Demolition, Axe, Smash, and Crush. The reason I have this team at number 10 is because really you had two dominant tag teams at the time. You had like some of the top stars around that time with the WWF champion, the Ultimate Warrior. You had Kerry Von Erich, who was, I believe at the time, the Intercontinental Champion. And you had the most over tag team around that time, the Legion of Doom. You cram that team up, you put those four guys together, you put those four together, and you have probably one of the greatest you probably have a good tag team, a good tag team all together. And that's why I have the Ultimate Team, because you had some of the most dominant, popular teams in the WWF all together, teaming together. And the reason I have the Perfect Team is because you had pretty much the dominant heels around that time, which was in the 1990s. You had Mr. Perfect and Demolition, who at the time was still a little bit popular, even though they at the time added Crush. So yeah, I had these two teams at number 10 because they were a really dominant team, and when you put those guys together, you would just have a good match, and just a power match, as what you would call it. At number 9, I got the Radicals. What can you say? From 2000, you had Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn, Chris Benoit, and Dean Malenko. Really strong team. You have Eddie Guerrero, who does his thing. You have Perry Saturn, who was Perry Saturn. You had Chris Benoit, who was dominant around that time. And you had Dean Malenko, the technical wrestler. You had those four together, and they competed in the Survivor Series, and they were a really dominant team in Survivor Series history, and I have them at number 9. At number 8, I got Shawn Michaels' team, where he had Diesel, Owen Hart, Jim Neidhart, and Jeff Jarrett. At the time, it was at the two popular heels were Diesel and Shawn Michaels. The three popular heels were Diesel, Shawn Michaels, and then you throw Owen Hart in the mix. And then when you add Jim Neidhart, who really wasn't, just throw him in there, and then throw a kind of green Jeff Jarrett, or a good Jeff Jarrett, or a green Jeff Jarrett, and you really got a dominant tag team. This team swept Razor Ramon's team, but ended up losing, but still was a dominant team all around together, and that's why I have them at number 8. At number 7, I got the team of Edge, Christian, Matt Hardy, and Jeff Hardy. Edge, Christian, and Matt Hardy, and Jeff Hardy. And their team was pretty dominant, because around 1999, these were the teams that were pretty much lighting the WWF scene up, the two most popular tag teams in the WWF. And you put those two teams together, and you really got a dominant team right here, and that's why I have them at number 7, because really they were the most popular tag teams in the WWF, and then putting them together just made it better than most people thought. At number 6, I got the Vipers from the 1990 Survivor Series. The team consisted of Jake Roberts, who was popular at the time, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, who was popular around that time, and the popular tag team of the Rockers, What can you say? This was a really good This was a really good dominant team. You had Jake Roberts, who was the most popular, most over guy around that time. You had Jimmy Snuka, who was the most popular over guy in the WWF, even though around this time he was a jobber, but still over with the crowd and popular. And he had the most popular tag team in the WWF around that time, the Rockers. Put them together, and you got a formula for success right there. And that's why I have them at number 6, because this was a really good team all around together. At number 5, I got the Hulkamaniacs from the 1989 Survivor Series. The Hulkamaniacs consisted of Hulk Hogan, Jake Roberts, Demolition, Axe and Smash. Really, what can you say? You had Hulk Hogan. You already know about Hulk Hogan. Then you had Jake Roberts, who I already touched on in 1990, but in 1989 he was really popular. Then you had the team of Demolition, who was a popular tag team. And really, like I said about the Vipers, you put these teams together and you really got a really dominant tag team, and that's what they were at the Survivor Series. Even though in 1989, even though the one that came out of victor was Hulk Hogan, I believe it was that team that won. At number 4, I go with the 1995 Survivor Series with Yokozuna, Owen Hart, Razor Ramon, and Dean Douglas. What can you say? Really, you had 3 of the most popular superstars around that time, and then you throw in Dean Douglas and his gimmick, and really you got a really good team, a good hard-working team, and that's what they were, and that's why I have them at number 4. At number 3, I got Team DX with Triple H, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, Matt Hardy, and Jeff Hardy. These guys were, you already know about Triple H and Shawn Michaels, but when you throw CM Punk, who was the most over guy around that time, and you throw the Hardys in there, and really you got a really good dominant tag team, and that's what they were. They swept the team of John Morris, the team rated RKO. They swept that team, and really that's what you could say. They were a really dominant team, and that's why I have them at number 3. At number 2, I got Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, John Cena, Hardcore Holly, and Bradshaw. Dominant. You had 3 of the most popular dominant guys in the WWF, and then you had 2 guys who were floating. You add that together, and this was really a good team. Really, the survivors of this team were Chris Benoit and John Cena, but this was still overall a good team altogether. At number 1, I got a tie between Team Flair and Team Piper. Team Flair consisted of Warlord, Ric Flair, Ted DiBiase, and the Mountie. Team Piper consisted of Bret Hart, Rowdy Piper, Virgil, and British Bulldog. On Team Flair, you had the most over heels in the WWF around that time. Team Piper, you had the most over faces in the WWF. You clashed those 2 teams together. Really, you got a formula for a good tag team matchup, and that's what it was. It was one of those matches you did not want to see in. Anyhow, I'm running out of time. Hope you liked my video of my top 10 Survivor Series teams. Rate, comment, make a video response. Want to hear what you got to say. Subscribe. And I hope to give you another video sometime later or sometime tomorrow. I'm out. Hope you enjoy my video. Peace.